Some things we carry can't be seen with the eyes. Not in the mirror, not in photographs, not even in old medical charts. They sit a little deeper, tucked away in quiet corners of the heart. And as the years go on, we don't always talk about them. Not because they've disappeared, but because we've simply learned how to carry them in silence. You see, growing older brings wisdom. Yes, but it can also bring a kind of invisible weight. Not just the physical slowing down of our bodies, but the tender aches of the soul. The what-ifs, the people we miss, the words we never said, the moments we wish we could have back. Even for a second. This video isn't here to give you advice or tell you what to do. It's simply a warm companion, a quiet hand reaching out, to walk alongside you as we gently open a few of those hidden drawers in the heart. Together, we'll look at 7 emotional wounds that many seniors carry, softly, without shame. And maybe, just maybe, we'll find small ways to begin healing them. Not by fixing the past, but by meeting it with kindness and understanding. If you've been holding something quietly inside, a feeling, a memory, a regret, I invite you to stay. You're not alone, and you don't have to carry it all by yourself anymore. Let's sit together for a little while and begin. One of the deepest wounds we often carry is the wound of regret. It's not always loud. It doesn't shout. It often comes in quiet moments, when the house is still, or when we're lying, awake in bed thinking back through the years. We remember choices we didn't make, words we didn't say, chances we let slip by because we were afraid or unsure or simply didn't know what we know now. Regret can take many shapes. Maybe it's the job you turned down, the person you pushed away, the apology you never gave. Or maybe it's the life you wanted to live but didn't because you were taking care of others or trying to do the right thing, even if it didn't feel right for you. These kinds of memories can sit heavily inside us, like old letters we never mailed, sealed up and forgotten in the attic of the mind. But every so often they come back, and they whisper, what if? It's easy to be hard on ourselves, to think, I should have known better, or I wasted too much time. But the truth is, we were doing the best we could, with what we knew then. We weren't trying to make mistakes, we were simply human, and being human means sometimes getting it wrong. It means growing, and sometimes growth only comes after the moment has passed. If you've been holding on to regret, I invite you to try something small. Write a letter to your younger self. Tell them what you wish they had known. Forgive them. Or speak out loud the words you never said, even if no one else is listening. You'd be surprised how healing it can be to simply say, I didn't know, but now I understand. Regret doesn't mean you failed. It means you cared. It means you lived. And it means you're still learning even now. And that, in itself, is something beautiful. There's another wound that so many carry, quietly and deeply, the wound of loss. Whether it's the passing of a spouse, a dear friend, a sibling, or even a child, grief changes everything. It rearranges the world, turning it into something familiar, yet strangely different. You wake up one morning and realize someone you love isn't here, and somehow the world keeps turning as if nothing happened. But inside you, everything has changed. Grief isn't something that goes away with time. People often say, time heals all wounds, but those who've truly loved know that's not entirely true. Time doesn't erase grief. It just teaches us how to live around it. Some days are easier. The sun shines, and the memories bring a soft smile. Other days, the ache returns like a wave and unexpected and overwhelming. It might be triggered by a scent, a song, an empty chair, or a birthday that comes and goes without them. And sometimes people around us don't quite understand. They think if years have passed, we should have moved on. But we never really move on from love. We carry it with us, reshaped, quieter maybe, but still very much alive. If you're grieving someone today, I want you to know that your love is not forgotten. Your tears are not weakness. They're a sign that your heart still remembers, still honors. And that's something sacred. There are small ways to make space for grief. Light a candle in their memory. Say their name. Tell their story to someone younger. Or simply close your eyes and speak to them in your heart. You might be surprised at the comfort that brings. Loss will always be part of love. But healing begins when we allow ourselves to feel it fully, without guilt, without rushing, without pretending we're over it. Because grief is not something to fix. It's something to carry, gently, with love. There's a quiet kind of pain that doesn't always get talked about. The pain of feeling forgotten, of being left behind. While the world rushes forward, it can happen slowly, like a light dimming over time. The phone rings less. The house feels emptier. Holidays come and go, and sometimes no one asks what your plans are. You might sit by the window and watch the street outside, remembering when it was filled with bicycles and children's laughter. Maybe even your own. But now it's quieter. The calendar isn't as full, and sometimes it feels like you're no longer part of the world's story, just watching from the sidelines. It's not that people mean to forget. Life just gets busy. Children grow up, families move away. Technology replaces long conversations with quick messages. And slowly, without even realizing it, a sense of invisibility creeps in. But let me say this clearly. You are not invisible. You are not too old. You are not a burden. The years you've lived, the love you've given, the stories you hold, they matter more than most people can ever understand. You still have a voice, and that voice still matters. Sometimes healing this wound means reaching out, even when it feels hard. Calling a grandchild just to say hello, sending a card to an old friend, joining a local group, a book club, or even a small class. Not because you have to prove anything, but because connection is still yours to claim. Even sharing a story with a neighbor or writing a few memories down in a notebook can be powerful, because every time you speak or write or simply show up, you remind the world that you are still here, still feeling, still offering. You may feel forgotten at times, but you are not lost, and you are never alone in this space. Right now, in this moment, your presence is seen. And it is deeply, deeply valued. There's a wound that many carry quietly, sometimes for decades, and that's the wound of self-blame. It doesn't always come from what others have said, but from what we say to ourselves. That little voice that whispers, "You should have done more. You should have known better. You failed." It's a heavy burden. Maybe it's about being a parent, wishing you had more patience, more time, more understanding. Maybe it's about a marriage that ended or a job that didn't turn out the way you hoped. Maybe it's something no one else even knows about. But you remember it clearly, and the guilt hasn't let go. What's hard is that self-blame doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just lingers quietly, shaping how we feel about ourselves. It can show up in the way we speak, apologizing for things we didn't do wrong, brushing off compliments, or feeling like we don't deserve peace after all these years. But here's the gentle truth. You are not your mistakes. You are not the worst thing you ever did. You are a whole person full of light and shadow, just like every other human being. And the fact that you care, that you remember, that you wish you could have done better, is proof of your goodness, not your failure. If you find yourself carrying this kind of blame, try offering yourself the same kindness you would offer a dear friend. Would you tell them they're unworthy? Or would you hold their hand and say, "You did your best. You were doing the best you could with what you had. And it's okay to forgive yourself now." Healing starts in small moments, standing in front of the mirror and saying, "I forgive you." Writing down not what you regret, but what you're proud of. Noticing the times you showed up with love even when you were hurting. You've carried these harsh words for too long. Let some of them go now. Lay them down, like stones you no longer need to hold. You have earned peace, not by being perfect, but simply by being human. If you've made it this far, thank you for sitting with me quietly, honestly, through these tender places of the heart. Talking about emotional wounds isn't easy. It takes courage, it takes softness, It takes a willingness to open doors that may have stayed closed for years. And if you felt something stir inside you today, that's not weakness. That's healing, beginning to move. We all carry something. Not just scars from surgeries or stiff joints that remind us of time passing, but inner stories, regrets, memories, longings. And the beautiful thing is, even now, in this season of life, healing is still possible. It might not come in big, dramatic changes. Sometimes healing is as gentle as a deep breath, a kind word to yourself, a moment of stillness where you finally let go. You are not alone in your journey. There are others, quiet souls, just like you, carrying similar aches, but there is also so much strength in you, the kind that comes not from pushing through but from allowing yourself to feel, and still choosing to love yourself anyway. So if your heart feels heavy some days, or if the past taps you on the shoulder unexpectedly, remember, there is no rush to heal, no timeline to follow. You are allowed to move at your own pace, with softness, with grace. You have given so much to this world. Now let some of that care return to you. Let your next chapter be written not in shame or sorrow, but in peace, in gentleness, and in the quiet knowing that you are still growing, still worthy and still deeply loved.